In this video, I'm going to show you how I can quickly come up with an idea and start building a track in Ableton Live using Odyssey. This is the example track we're going to be building in this video, and I made this in under 15 minutes using Odyssey and Ableton Live. So let's dive in. So I'm going to be showing off some different techniques along the way, but I'm also going to speed through a bunch of things or cut out the really boring parts, so that you can see the progression. And I'm going to start timing myself right now, and we can see how long it takes me to get something going in live. So I'm going to create a new project, fast track it. And the idea here in Odyssey is it's super quick to come up with ideas that I can put in a MIDI and throw into Ableton. So I'm going to start with something like, let's go with E blues minor. Then we're going to add a chord over here, and I'm going to do something like 1 1/3 5th. It sounds good. Then I'm going to add another one here, which and let's hear that whole thing. Cool, I like that progression. I'm going to want to do a little something to make things a little more interesting, where I'm going to hit customize, change this into adding a 7th. Making it a little more complex. I'm going to complex this one a little bit. First inversion, cool. Now that'll sound a little more interesting. Nice. Now, the only thing I might want to do is I'm going to change the rhythm. Okay, I'm going to also change this rhythm to aerodynamic. Bam. Great. Now I got a progression that I really like. I can go with a melody. I'm going to add a melody here with something that is all right, and let's edit this melody by changing the tension. Can do in harmony or scale, octaves, 5th sounds good. Root pitch, let's change that to cool. And then let me see if I can just duplicate that over. Awesome. Sounding good. I like there's a little tension there on the end of the 3rd. Then I'm going to add a bass line. And let's go with something like a little more interesting than that. I wanted to edit the shape. Bam, bam. Cool, and then I'm going to also add a bass line. Egypt. Actually, oh, it's electric over there under rhythm. I want the same rhythm. Cool. Nice, and last thing, let's add a drum. I'm going to edit the drums. Cool, now I got my rhythm. This is a good sketch, so what I'm going to do is export, select, full track, and fast track MIDI. And now that should be on my desktop. Fast track MIDI, go over to Ableton, and I'm going to throw it in here. Now I'm going to add a bunch of sounds. And the cool thing is, once I'm in Ableton, I can use all the tools that I know, like I'm going to legato this. Let's go with bass. Let's fast forward through some bass production. And now let's drag in a new drum rack. All right, so I've got all my elements up except for my pad. I'm going to start adding effects and different things to make it a little more interesting. One thing I like to do once I've got a chord progression is I can start playing with things like making a separate line that moves a little bit different. Just elongate that one, move that over. Cool. And then I can do something like add a different sound into there. Let's go with something like... I like this, but it's a little too much, so what I'm going to do is come in here, edit this. And then I might even go into my pitch, lower it down. And then I'm also going to do a good old sidechain. I'm going to sidechain that new part that I added to my drums, specifically in my FX, the kick. And then if I were going to make this more of like the chorus section or add a little bit more energy, what I can do is I can insert a new MIDI. And again, this is using a lot of the sketches and ideas I had from the other one. And I'm just going to do something like... add another plugin. Bam, bam, physical modeling. I'm gonna go up an octave. This is really close, but I also want to be a little bit more grimy on top. So I'm going to go with guitar rig, just play with some guitar amps. Awesome. Now that I got that going, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate time, go to edit, duplicate time. Let's do one more. And this is what I call subtractive arrangement. It's where I go through and I start deleting parts or taking care, like clearing up more space. So for instance, I can get rid of all my hi-hats. I like the rim shot, I didn't like the snare. So then I can just come in here and I'm hitting 0 to deactivate parts. And I'm actually going to edit, cut time, that whole thing. Yeah, it's not the whole progression, but that means when the progression does open, it'll be a little bit more interesting. Awesome. There we go. We got a pretty good progression that's starting. And basically what I do is probably have more solos in this section, bring in some instruments, some other parts. But the cool thing about creating all those chords in originally Odyssey is I've got all these chord movements happening. I turn it into MIDI, and then once it's here, I can actually use that to write my new melodies, kind of like what I did here, where I activated, deactivated different parts, made in new rhythms and things like that. Or if you know the scale, you can write it on your keyboard, start building out the track. And this was pretty quick. This was done in, looking at the clock now, 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, I've got a pretty solid beginning of a track that I could build out into something. So yeah, that is why I love Odyssey as a quick kind of sketch creator. It really helps me come up with a progression and idea, which I can then move over into live and build something really cool pretty quickly. And there you have it. That's Ableton Live and Odyssey. Hope you enjoy this. Check out my channel at subaqueousmusic.com for a bunch more. I also have a video that walks through a bunch of what Odyssey does, so you can get a little bit more of the hands-on information. This was just a quick overview of what I can create fast, building a track with Odyssey and Ableton Live. So thanks a lot. Subscribe. More information coming, and thanks for checking out the video.